If we go all the way back to 2018, Insomniac released this incredible masterpiece on the PlayStation 4. Since then, they've also released Spider-Man Miles Morales and the upgraded version for the PlayStation 5. Now, I haven't been lucky enough to get my hands on a PlayStation 5, so I have no idea how the game looks on these consoles. But for the last few weeks, it's been one of the only games I've been thinking about, and here's the reason why. If we jump back into September of 2021, we had the reveal for Spider-Man 2. Now, this looks incredible. From the looks of the trailer, they'll be putting Miles and Peter up against Venom and Kraven the Hunter. If you're a fan of Spider-Man, then you're really in for a good time, so long as the game doesn't flop anyway. But then fast forward to December, what in my opinion was probably the best film in the MCU to date. Spider-Man No Way Home came out in cinemas and it was absolutely incredible. I honestly think that it smashed Endgame right out of the park for me. And since then, I've kind of had this burning sensation to just replay the game, so I decided that that's what I'm going to do. So it has taken me a few months to get around to actually playing it again, like I must admit, but that's for a handful of reasons. The main one being that I just don't want to ruin it. So you know when you first play a game and it's just beautiful, it takes the breath out of your chest and leaves you wanting even more of it? That's how I felt the first time I played Spider-Man PS4, and I didn't want to play it again and just be underwhelmed because I would no longer be playing it for the first time. On my original playthrough, I managed to get through the entire game in 16 hours in one single sitting. I had been waiting for the game for like 3 years, so I feel like it was justified, but also it was a little bit too fast. After playing it, I can honestly say that wasn't my reaction at all. Over the last 3 and a bit years since it's been released, I can honestly say that no one has managed to release a game that I've enjoyed more. I am biased as I absolutely love Spider-Man as a character, but the story was incredible. It's safe to say this video will avoid spoilers, but if you haven't played it by now, you really do need to just get on with it and get it done, because it's been out for a while. Now, the design of this game was just amazing. So it reminds me a lot of the original Spider-Man 2 game back on the PlayStation 2, where you could still free swing and everything was kind of hooked on by physics, like you would have to have a billboard there to throw your web at it. But I forgot how much of a leap forward this game actually was. It swings so perfectly and the momentum of the movement is just beautiful. I found myself avoiding doing missions just to swing across the entire city and get all of the collectibles, just because of how nice the swinging in the game is. Not just to mention that, but the actual city design in the game is one of the best that I've seen in video games ever, and I used to exclusively just play RPGs, so that's honestly saying something from me. I love how they've included everything they could think of in New York into the landscape of New York for the MCU. It goes all the way from the Sanctum Sanctorum from Doctor Strange to the smaller fish like Elias Investigations from Jessica Jones. Obviously, it would be really weird to speak about Spider-Man without speaking about the suits. Like, they're still great. The only thing that I wanted from this game was a real black symbiote suit, but I also understand now that the reason they would have left that out was because they wanted to use different suits in the second game, and as the second game does contain Venom, it does make more sense for that one to have the black symbiote suit in. Luckily we did get a larger array of black suits in the Miles Morales game, but I'm sure that's entirely fair because his suits are generally black and red. Now talking of the suits, we'll think about the suit abilities. They are great. Some of them I found amazing and I was using them all of the time, specifically the Iron Spider ability, because that is sick. Whereas there were a few that I genuinely think I may have used once or twice, and then there's a couple that I just didn't even look at. But I think this is mainly down to choice of preference. One of the things that I think this game has done incredibly well is the combat system. It's only really a few button taps, so it doesn't really feel ridiculously hard, but they've somehow managed to master the movement on the game. It's beyond incredible how each counter is just a dodge and the way he moves is just so graceful. Other than that, the choices are just square button to hit, or you can hit harder sometimes, use the triangle to shoot webs and zip yourself towards things, spin people around and stuff. But overall, the combat in this game really holds up. I think the thing that I probably consider it to be the most similar to is probably the Batman Arkham series, which is known for how good the combat is. Whilst we already have the Batman Arkham series mentioned, it's a good time to throw in the stealth of this game. Although it is basically just ripped out of the Batman Arkham games, it's sick. One of my favourite aspects of this game is just how great it feels doing the little sneaky sneak and then revving people up without anybody noticing. I also feel like the boss fights in this game at some points felt a little bit overwhelming. Nothing feels incredibly hard, but then again this is probably just because I'm playing the game on like normal difficulty instead of the hardest, as it was something I wanted to jump in and actually enjoy without getting frustrated at. And now, to this day, the final boss fight is one of the most beautiful scenes in a game that I've ever had the pleasure of seeing. So I've been playing this on the PlayStation 4 Slim, and honestly, I'm so excited to get to play this game on the PlayStation 5 when I finally manage to get my hands on one, because it will be one of the smoothest and most gorgeous looking games going. I am trying my hardest not to look at the game with rose-tinted glasses, and the few issues I've seen are really nitpicky, but they are still prevalent. The camera angles at times just don't seem to move the way that you need them to, and in the same way sometimes in combat it's harder to target specific enemies that you actually want because of this. There's also issues with the difficulty of the game, being that it's a little bit too easy at times. The story of this game is also incredibly short. Like I said originally, I managed to get through my first playthrough on this game in 16 hours. I was playing it non-stop and I did quite a lot of the side stuff as well, and it was just 16 hours. Obviously, Miles Morales is considerably shorter. I managed to get through this entire main story on a stream and it took me 8 hours in all. See, the leveling system in this game as well, it makes sense and it is quite thorough, but honestly, it isn't the best. There's a lot of moves and stuff that you can learn through it, but it doesn't really feel like it adds much to the depth as you would kind of expect. The free running in this game though, it's perfect, I literally can't fault it. I'm a huge fan of this game, and in all honesty, I'm really excited for Spider-Man 2 to come out. If you haven't had the chance to play this game yet, it is a must. I've spoken on here before about Marvel Avengers and the new Guardians games, and even though I really enjoyed both of those games, I still feel like Spider-Man just beats them both. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Remember to hit the like button if you've enjoyed it, and let me know in the comments what your thoughts on the Spider-Man game are. Have you managed to play it on PS5? If so, does it look so much better? Subscribe to see more content, and take it easy.
Damn bomb in the truck. Gotta get it out of here. There's still more demons. You get a demon, everybody gets a demon.